I call it the fingerprint of flood insurance. We have a flyer out that actually has me pointing to it. Because like us as individuals, our fingerprints, our socials, they make us unique.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Oh. I'd say this was about take 6. We've been flooded with problems.
We have for 2 days now.
Yeah, it's the 2-day flood. It's been flooding for 2 days and 2 nights. But we made it through, and we sit with the flood guru, Chris Greene. Chris Greene, welcome back to the Insurance
Thank you
Dudes.
so much for having me.
Look at that. His audio works. It's amazing.
We have some working technology in here. This is Chris's 3rd time.
What if you count all of the takes?
Then that's my 21st episode.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe we'll put some bloopers at the end, except there might be bad words.
No, you don't need bloopers. Just take the original recording.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true. Good point. Good point. Well, welcome, Chris Greene. You have
so much for having me again.
Yeah. You're flooding the internet with information about the new rules that FEMA's come out with, and that will affect every agent that writes flood. Is that an accurate statement?
It will impact every agent that doesn't write flood.
Well, let's get into it.
You may fire when ready.
All right. So what I'm here talking about today is NFIP Risk Rating 2.0.
Ooh.
So this is the new federal flood insurance program that's rolling out October 1st, 2021 for new business, April 1st, 2022 for renewal business. Now, this program is really important because for the first time ever, FEMA is coming into the 21st century. Now, what does that mean for you as an agent? Well, that means that flood zones will no longer determine insurance rates. It means that elevation certificates will no longer be required. Great, right? Not so fast. Here's how flood insurance rates are going to be determined now. We're talking about distance to water. We're talking about type of flooding, flood frequency, claim variables. We're talking about if you have a flood claim, it can now be put on top of your regular rate increase on your 20-year look back. We're talking about the difference between ground and the lowest habitational floor. These are all new rating factors with NFIP Risk Rating 2.0.
Whoa.
I am flooded with thoughts. Here's one thought. I have no idea what you're talking about. A lot of that is way over this guy's head.
Can you talk in English?
I can.
Let's go back. You told us originally.
Really quick.
Well, that's what he said.
No. No more.
So this is the first time these rules have changed in 60 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's
They've been
start
trying
there.
to change it since 2012. You had Bigger Waters Act that came out between 2012 and 2014, which started this ball rolling. So this plan really was supposed to start going in place 10 years ago, but there's been a lot of pushback between Congress and FEMA getting things in correctly. And so COVID got delayed one more year. And they're like, we're putting it in place in 2021. So it's scheduled to go in place in 3 weeks. And it's real interesting because we got people right now that get $700 rates through FEMA. And when they're quoting their new policies, you're talking $6,000 premiums in some areas. It's just insane.
Now,
what does that do to that? What does that do for their commissions?
Well, the agents are getting a raise.
Well, okay. So there is sort of good news.
Some upside. Yeah.
Well,
there's some upside.
News, but they battled for a long time because they actually wanted to lower commissions.
Right.
But, it's kind of hard to get somebody to offer coverage like this if you're not going to pay them.
Sure.
I mean, are we talking about $700 rates in like New Orleans and these areas that have been flooded with flooding problems?
Some of them. And you're also talking about Dallas, Texas. You're talking about Phoenix, Arizona.
Right. Phoenix?
Georgia. It just depends.
Huh.
Crazy.
So if you're in a place that has a relatively low likelihood of a flood, how would that impact rates? Would that make people consider getting flood?
Before you have flood zone X, where it's not required. You're in your low risk zone. Everybody has the same rate. With this new program, though, I said flood zones are no longer going to determine rates. So you might have a property in Houston, Texas that has a $2,000 flood X rate, but then you might have a property in Tulsa, Oklahoma, same flood zone, but a $400 rate. And it's because of all these different factors they're using now.
So they're
flood
actually
zones are only going to be used for regulatory standpoint, whether it's going to be required or it's not going to be required.
Gotcha. So basically, they're going to actually accurately rate them according to the risk instead of just willy-nilly.
I call it the fingerprint of flood insurance. We have a flyer out that actually has me pointing to it. Because like us as individuals, our fingerprints, our socials, they make us unique. Just like each
Yes.
structure is going to have its unique risk model using these different things to determine what the true flood risk is and get that risk and that premium as close together as possible. Hopefully helping the National Flood Insurance Program avoid going bankrupt.
Yes. Like
That
Social
is wild,
Security.
man. Right. So there's going to be people that own giant buildings in these flood areas that are going to be flooded with premium that they're
I
going to
was
have to pay.
going to say that if you didn't.
Now, here's the good
Wow.
news. Let's say you have a current policy and you take a look at this program and you see, hey, this program is not going to benefit me right away. The good news is you can wait until the next renewal as long as it's before April 1st, 2021. If you've got a renewal that's on April 1st or after, that's when you have the opportunity of waiting one more year. But regardless, in April 2022, you're going to have to enter this program if you have a National Flood Insurance Program policy.
Wow. So what are you advising people to do?
So this is what I tell people. I said, reach out to your agent. But as agents, it's going to be even more important that we advise people now. Say a customer comes to you and they say, hey, I need to file a flood claim. Most people let here, call FEMA, file the flood claim, submit proof of loss, whatever. Like, for example, today in New York, we're walking people through whether it makes sense to file the claim or not. What are the short-term impacts, long-term? FEMA is going to be using something called claim variable. So after you have a claim, your first claim in 2.0, their new program, they're going to do a 20-year look back. Say that property had 2 claims in the last 20 years as well. Now you have a claim variable of 3. So that means at renewal, you could have an increase in your rate go up because of these claims on top of the maximum 18% rate increase.
Ooh.
Now, what if, as an agent, I advise my customer to file a $2,000 claim and now they're impacted $10,000 in premium? I could have exposed myself.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's going to
You don't
become
wanna
really
expose yourself.
important that
You don't want to be
advise
exposed.
that you advise these customers properly with all these changes.
You'd be flooded with exposure.
Flood is one of the number one E&O claims.
It is. Because I think that likely most agents don't know too much about flood. They just put the policy together and hope that nothing happens, right? And then when it does, it's done wrong. Maybe they didn't get all the stuff they needed to, or some paper signed, and then boom, right? Now they got a problem on their hands.
I talked to an agent this morning. I was worried about it. I said, look, don't lose sleep overnight because you might have an E&O claim. More than likely, you will in this situation. The whole state's underwater. It's bound to happen. But there's nothing you can do about it. That's why you have it.
That
Don't
was
worry,
Louisiana.
you're going to get one. Yeah.
Was that in Louisiana?
No, New York.
Oh,
Oof.
that New York.
So that's where you come in. I mean, we could always just call Chris and we don't have to worry about it, right?
Yeah, but in our educational videos, like I tell our team members, we are an educational company that owns a flood insurance agency, a flood consulting company, and a marketing agency. We are education first. Like when these agents come to us, that's what we're showing them. Hey, here's what you can do in this situation. If you want us to handle it for you, great. But let us teach you so you can teach your client.
Love that.
That's great. So talk about some of the, number one, congratulations, because you did a flood video every day for a year. Did you go beyond that?
In 2 weeks, when I'm at Jason Cass's brain share in San Antonio, it will be 1,000 videos in 1,000 days.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
And like you told us yesterday, I think it was, somebody looked up something about flood insurance. They were flooded with your videos.
They were. We actually are using it. It's something that agents can really use some of this material for. We're using it as a recruiting and a culture tool now, where when people come to work for us, one of the things we tell them to, hey, go to our YouTube channel and learn more about us. Learn the kind of culture we have. Learn what kind of company we are. And then a lot of them come back and say, that's the kind of company I want to work for.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, as we now pivot a little bit and get into marketing, YouTube is the number one search engine in the world, right? Yep. So people go to YouTube to find out how to do anything, how to build the house, how to do flood. So somebody goes with a question, they're going to go there. So agents need to take advantage of that. We were talking about it in one of our coffee talks, how important it is to create that content marketing. And it's not difficult. It's just being consistent, right?
Yep. That's what I tell people. I said, look, our content's not fancy. I don't spend thousands of dollars producing it. Every one of my videos is usually about 2 minutes or less. I just consistently do it every day. I stay about a week to 10 days ahead, except for like this week. We've produced almost 50 pieces of content between me and my content team, between Louisiana to New York, because of all the things going on with Hurricane Ida. On top of the National Flood Insurance Program 2.0 changes for every city that we're addressing, on top of every flood map change in the country that we're addressing.
So here, I'll be the agent that has never made a piece of content or video and is scared of getting on there. But Chris, you know so much about flood insurance, so it's easy for you to come up with content.
It is easy for me because I learned from Marcus Sheridan. He wrote a book called They Ask You Answer. So what we're doing is customers call us every day. We're writing their questions down. We're taking their questions. If we get them more than once in a week, we're putting it in video form. We're putting it in text form. We're putting it in audio form, because that way when someone else searches for it, they're going to find the answer. We're also putting it into something inside our CRM called Playbooks. So when a customer has that question, our team member can go to Playbooks, type in the question, and it tells them exactly how to answer the question.
Dare we call them knowledge nuggets, Jason?
I mean, those are some fat knowledge nuggets.
Dripping.
That
I would call
dropped
it, I mean,
all over.
I would have called it a Tinder, but
So the name of that book, that got me very excited.
They Ask You Answer, Marcus Sheridan.
Okay. That's
If you
awesome.
Talk about video. Here's another one that's just as important that Marcus just recently wrote with actually a good friend of mine, Tyler Bassard of Vidyard, called The Visual Sell. And it's teaching these people how to sell through video, like on your website, the educational selling tool.
Ooh.
The educational selling tool is the name of that book?
Well, no, it's called the Visual Sell, but that's what they're
Visual
teaching
sale.
is, hey,
Gotcha.
basically take the 80% of the questions you get, take the top 7 questions and answer them on your website.
Love
Craig,
that.
did you pull out your quill and
I
jot
can-
that down on some
I can
papyrus?
guarantee. No, I didn't, because I know that you already ordered that in Audible, and then you're just going to share it with me.
I mean, the company's Vidyard that
Probably.
Tyler runs up in Canada, but dude, it's great. We use them inside our system. We use them for all of our quote proposals. What they do is they tell us analytics who watched our video, when they watched it. We can create all this automation
Yeah.
because of it.
Love that.
When someone goes to my video proposal, they have 3 options: buy, I got questions, or I'm not ready. When they click on it, it takes them to a landing page with another Vidyard video about the next steps, common questions, as they're filling out that form. And we've taken them all the way down the funnel, and we haven't even picked up the phone yet.
Right. So what traditionally would have required maybe a couple salespeople, maybe an appointment setter, all of these resources, you put the little bit of extra effort up front, and all of a sudden it's just doing it by itself.
Like my friend David Carruthers says, it's the extra 2 minutes.
Yep. Love Carruthers. And what
Right
he's done.
That's his book, by the way.
I'm sorry.
I just don't even know how to respond to that.
It's a great book, I'm telling you, man.
I wow.
I
Wow,
derailed
Jason.
that
You
conversation.
did. You did. I just focused on the wrong thing. So
No,
Okay.
it's so true. It's digital real estate is what it is, right?
Yes.
And it's taking that extra time. It might be a day. I mean, I love creating leverage where, yeah, it might take you an extra 4 hours, but now in perpetuity, you have this piece of content that's gaining you back hours tomorrow, the next day, the following day, just in perpetuity. And it
Right.
creates a better experience for your clients. And by the time that they talk to you, they're warmed up, like it's done.
yeah. Anything that you find yourself doing multiple times, there might be a way to automate it, right? And then there you go. Now you have the computer
I'll
do
tell you
the
this,
work.
you know I shoot a lot of
Housework.
videos, right? We do flood map updates every week.
You do?
I don't reshoot that video every week. I simply shoot the intro and the outro, but for a different area, because the majority of the video is the same. So I just keep that recording, I throw it in there, and it makes us all way more efficient.
Yeah. That's great. You said something else that was a huge dripping wet knowledge nugget, and it was the resource thing in your CRM.
I call them playbooks.
Yeah. That's
We just start
amazing.
building them out. So what happens is, say a customer calls in, our CRM pops up. Just they have a question about canceling a policy with a certain carrier. We can type in canceling John Smith Insurance Agency policy, and then it walks our team member through exactly what process, what conditions have to be met, so they can explain it to the customer.
Wow. And
And then
I
when they
would
put the notes in there for the customer's response, that note is saved on the customer's contact record.
That's great. But Chris, that must have taken you forever. How did you do that? I can never do anything like that.
I built it over the last 3 years.
Yeah. Right?
So
It's like an elephant.
It is. I tell people it's like an onion. Like I tell my team members all the time, keep an onion on your desk, and they laugh at me. And they're like, "What's the point of the onion?" I said, "Take it one layer at a time."
Yeah.
I said, "But because if you get too deep into it, it's going to stink."
Yeah. And if you feed it to the elephant, then he's going to eat it all at once.
Yeah, it's like we've just done a little bit over time, just like with our videos, just like building our online reputation now. We're generating about 200 or 300 leads a month organically, but it wasn't like that from day one. We had to keep doing the content, and I'm still adjusting the content. I'm still improving our site. I'm changing our phone system to build it inside of our CRM, where the text messages, the recorded phone calls, everything is in one spot where it's less keynote strokes for our team.
Right. And then they can focus on what they're good at. Right.
Yep. Like we
So,
don't hire salespeople.
right. You don't need to. The machine can do it.
Well, no, what we do is we hire people who have a great character and a great personality. They've got to be able to make me smile through the phone. And one of the conditions is in our interview process, they have to send me a video of who they are, what they like to do for fun, why they're a good fit for our organization, because they're going to be on video every day with us.
Are they? You have them.
What is the funniest thing that you've heard of what they do for fun? Have you gotten any good ones?
What did I have one the other day that was crazy? It was a realtor. I forgot what she said it was. I can't remember. We've even done that process with virtual assistants that have to send us a video. If I'm looking at hiring a virtual assistant, I'm sending them through the same process. And then we send them through a company called Ideal Traits for personality tests that we started using, where we're looking for nurturers on our CRM side. We're looking for a perfectionist that can really crawl through our CRM to make sure we have everything we need inside of it.
What else?
Wow.
So that's just some of the things that I'm trying to get together because I said I'm kind of changing my role inside of our company. I'm shifting more to a training role. I'm shifting more to a public education and outreach role because that's what generates a lot of our revenues when I'm out there speaking, when I'm out there educating. We're not making any more money because I'm putting data in the system to do a flood quote.
Right. Exactly. That job needs to be outsourced to employees that can handle that versus your role, which is to drive more traffic to the business or figure out ways that will.
We don't have an office anymore. Our entire team works from home.
That's great. How did COVID impact your business?
We grew 300% because of COVID.
Yep. We experienced the same thing because we had all of the automation on the front end. Contact rates went up. People were bored. We were doing more quotes, right?
To be continue.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes, it's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now, live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.